The ancient Olympics. More than just running around. Hey there, history buffs and future Olympians. Ever wondered where the whole sports every 4 years thing came from? Buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into the wacky, wild, and surprisingly naked world of the ancient Olympic Games. Get ready to learn about the origins, events, and eventual demise of this incredible historical event. Imagine a world where wars were put on hold for a sporting event. That was the power of the ancient Olympics. These weren't just games. They were a central part of Greek life, a religious festival honoring Zeus himself. Think of it as the Super Bowl, World Cup, and a really intense church service all rolled into one. The Olympics were held in Olympia, Greece, every 4 years from 776 BCE to about 393 CE. The name Olympics comes from Mount Olympus, the legendary home of the Greek gods. So yeah, pretty important stuff. Major affairs, including wars, were often scheduled so as not to interfere with the event. Can you imagine telling a general, sorry, gotta postpone the invasion, the javelin throw is on? In the early days, the contests were a one-day sprint, but as the games grew in popularity, they expanded to 4 days of competition, followed by a 5th day for the award ceremony and a massive banquet for the champions. Talk about a victory feast. Even after the ancient Olympics ended in the late 4th century CE, the dream of athletic competition never truly died. Fast forward to the late 19th century, and a group of passionate individuals decided it was time to bring the games back. And in 1896, the first modern Olympics were held in Athens, reigniting the flame of athletic excellence for the world to see. How far back do organized athletic contests go? It's a bit of a historical mystery, but we know they were happening in Greece almost 3,000 years ago. By the end of the 6th century BC, 4 major Greek sporting festivals had emerged: the Olympic Games, the Pythian Games at Delphi, the Nemean Games at Nemea, and the Isthmian Games near Corinth. Think of them as the OG sporting circuits. Of all these games, the Olympics were the most famous. Held every 4 years between August 6 and September 19, they were so important that historians measured time by the interval between them and Olympiad. The Olympic Games, like almost all Greek games, were an intrinsic part of a religious festival. They were held in honor of Zeus at the sacred site Olympia by the city-state of Elis in the northwestern Peloponnese. The first Olympic champion listed in the records was Coroebus of Elis, a cook, who won the sprint race in 776 BCE. Yes, a cook. Talk about a career change. Some legends say the games were founded by Heracles, son of Zeus and Alcmene, but those are just myths, not historical evidence. At the first Olympics in 776 BC, there was only one event, a foot race that covered one length of the track at Olympia. This race, known as the Stade, was about 192 meters, 210 yards long. The word stade also came to refer to the track on which the race was held and is the origin of the modern English word stadium. So, next time you're in a stadium, remember Coroebus the cook. Over the next few decades, more events were added. In 724 BC, a 2-length race, the Dialos, roughly similar to the 400-meter race, was included. 4 years later, the Dolichos, a long-distance race possibly comparable to the modern 1,500 or 5,000-meter events, was added. Imagine running that in sandals. Wrestling and the pentathlon were introduced in 708 BCE. The pentathlon was an all-around competition consisting of 5 events: the long jump, the javelin throw, the discus throw, a foot race, and wrestling. Basically, you had to be good at everything. Boxing was introduced in 688 BCE, and chariot racing 8 years later. In 648 BC, the pancration, a kind of no-holds-barred combat, was included. This brutal contest combined wrestling, boxing, and street fighting. Kicking and hitting a downed opponent were allowed. Only biting and gouging, thrusting a finger or thumb into an opponent's eye were forbidden. A contest ended when one of the fighters acknowledged defeat or was rendered unconscious. In some cases, competitors died during matches. Yikes. Between 632 and 600 and 16 BCE, events for boys were introduced, and from time to time further events were added, including a foot race in which athletes ran in partial armor and contests for heralds and for trumpeters. The program, however, was not nearly so varied as that of the modern Olympics. There were neither team games nor ball games, and the athletics, track and field. Events were limited to the 4 running events and the pentathlon mentioned above. Chariot races and horse racing, which became part of the ancient games, were held in the hippodrome south of the stadium. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the nudity. In most events, the athletes participated in the nude. Through the centuries, scholars have sought to explain this practice. Historians have grasped at dubious theories because, in modern Western societies, which were long dominated by Jewish and Christian mores, to compete nude in public seems odd, if not scandalous. Yet ancient Greeks found nothing shameful about nudity, especially male nudity. Therefore, the many modern explanations of Greek athletic nudity are in the main unnecessary. It was just part of their culture. The Olympic Games were technically restricted to freeborn Greeks. Many Greek competitors came from the Greek colonies on the Italian peninsula and in Asia Minor and Africa. Most of the participants were professionals who trained full-time for the events. These athletes earned substantial prizes for winning at many other preliminary festivals, and although the only prize at Olympia was a wreath or garland, an Olympic champion also received widespread adulation and often lavish benefits from his home city. Think of them as the rock stars of the ancient world. Greece lost its independence to Rome in the middle of the 2nd century BCE, and support for the competitions at Olympia and elsewhere fell off considerably during the next century. The Romans looked on athletics with contempt. To strip naked and compete in public was degrading in their eyes. They preferred gladiators and chariot races. However, the Romans realized the political value of the Greek festivals, and the Emperor Augustus staged games for Greek athletes in a temporary wooden stadium erected near the Circus Maximus in Rome, and instituted major new athletic festivals in Italy and in Greece. The Emperor Nero was also a keen patron of the festivals in Greece, but he disgraced himself and the Olympic Games when he entered a chariot race, fell off his vehicle, and then declared himself the winner anyway. Talk about a sore loser. Romans neither trained for nor participated in Greek athletics. Roman gladiator shows and team chariot racing were not related to the Olympic Games or to Greek athletics. The main difference between the Greek and Roman attitudes is reflected in the words each culture used to describe its festivals. For the Greeks they were contests, agones, while for the Romans they were games, ludi. The Greeks originally organized their festivals for the competitors, the Romans for the public. One was primarily competition, the other entertainment. The Olympic Games were finally abolished about 394 CE by the Roman Emperor Theodosius I or his son because of the festival's pagan associations. And with that, an era came to an end. So, there you have it, the ancient Olympic Games, a fascinating blend of religion, athleticism, and, yes, even nudity. These games were more than just a sporting event. They were a cornerstone of Greek culture and a testament to the human spirit. Ready to learn more about the ancient world? Hit that like button. Let us know you enjoyed this historical deep dive. Subscribe to our channel. We've got plenty more educational videos coming your way. Leave a comment below. What's your favorite fact about the ancient Olympics? Share this video with your friends. Spread the knowledge and spark their curiosity. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.